you for the birds
World
so
so,
sweet.
thank you for the world so sweet.
Thank you for the food we eat. Thank you for the birds that sing. Thank you, God, for everything. Amen.
Yeah. Knuckles.
When Nichol Kessinger first stepped into the public eye, she wasn't a criminal, a mastermind, or a headline sensation. She was simply a woman who found herself in the wrong place, with the wrong man, at the most horrific moment imaginable. Yet the world didn't care about the fine details. They cared only about one thing. She was the mistress of Chris Watts, a man who would go on to commit one of the most shocking family murders in American history. Within hours of the case breaking, Nichol's face was everywhere. Television screens, YouTube comment sections, Reddit threads, Facebook groups devoted entirely to dissecting her every move. The label stuck instantly, the mistress, and with that label came a lifetime of assumptions, theories, and relentless public judgment. Despite giving statements to investigators and denying any involvement beyond her relationship with Chris, Nichol became a lightning rod for hatred. Her name was dragged through the mud, and the public demanded she share equal blame simply for being connected to him. Strangers openly wished her misery. Others insisted she disappear forever. And she did. Nichol vanished. No social media, no public statements, no interviews, only silence. But even in silence, the world kept talking. Now, years later, one haunting question still lingers. Could she ever live a normal life again? Could she ever date? Trust someone? And more importantly, would any man ever willingly marry a woman whose name is permanently tied to one of the darkest crimes of our time? In the eyes of millions, Nichol's life ended the day she met Chris Watts. But is a scandal enough to destroy a future forever? Fire before we continue. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more true crime stories like this. When most people endure a breakup, they delete photos, unfollow accounts, and move on. For Nichol Kessinger, moving on became nearly impossible. The internet ensured that her connection to Chris Watts would remain permanent, etched into search results, documentaries, and endless speculation. Every time someone types her name into Google, the same headlines reappear. Chris Watts' mistress. Involved or innocent? Where is Nichol Kessinger now? It doesn't matter that investigators stated she cooperated fully. It doesn't matter that she denied any knowledge of Chris's deadly intentions. The world had already decided who she was, a woman who helped destroy a family. And once the court of public opinion delivers a verdict, it rarely changes. Reports claim she went into hiding, maybe changed her name, tried to rebuild a life somewhere far away. But anonymity is a fragile shield. All it takes is one nosy neighbor, one leaked rumor, one person who recognizes her face, and suddenly she becomes headline news again. Now imagine trying to date under those conditions. How do you sit across from someone at a dinner table and casually say, heavy check mark, I enjoy hiking. Heavy check mark, my favorite food is Italian. By the way, the entire world thinks I influenced a man who murdered his family. Some men might be curious. Others might run the moment they hear her name. Many would worry about safety, reputation, and future children. Concerns that most couples never face. Nichol isn't just a woman with a past. She's a woman with a publicly documented scandal that resurfaces every time someone even thinks about searching her identity. So the question becomes, is love still possible for someone the world refuses to forget? Years have passed since the murders that shocked America, but for Nichol Kessinger, the shadow of 2018 never retreated. Her involvement, even strictly as the mistress of a killer, became a brand burned into the digital world. A stain that refuses to wash away. Every social platform, every comment section, every discussion about the Watts case erupts with the same rage. She should have known. She helped him. She deserves to suffer forever. Even though law enforcement never charged her with wrongdoing, speculation became her sentence. In the true crime world, speculation is louder than evidence and lasts much longer. Dating in silence is difficult. Dating with infamy is nearly impossible. Imagine creating a dating profile, and within minutes, a stranger sends screenshots of crime documentaries. A coworker discovers her name and whispers spread like wildfire. A family wonders if welcoming her means chaos will follow. Even if a man is willing to look beyond the past, the world around him may not. His parents might worry. His friends could warn him. Society may mock him for choosing someone tied so closely to an unforgivable crime. And then there's fear, a powerful gatekeeper. Not fear of her, but fear of the public backlash that comes with being seen beside her. If she tries to live quietly, she risks discovery. If she trusts someone new, that person could sell her location to tabloids. If she loves again, the world will judge that love before it even starts. Nichol Kessinger is alive, but not free. Her punishment is not prison bars. Her punishment is permanent association with the darkest chapter of another person's life. Backhand index pointing right if you're fascinated by these true crime deep dives. Make sure to like and subscribe for more stories every week. After the truth about Chris Watts finally came out in August 2018, the world's attention shifted sharply toward the woman who had unknowingly stepped into his double life. Nichol Kessinger became a lightning rod, a target for outrage, grief, and blame. To many, her name represented the unfinished business of justice. And soon, her every move was tracked, dissected, and attacked. Reporters camped at her apartment complex. Strangers hunted her through social media. People who had never met her claimed to know exactly who she was. Authorities confirmed she had cooperated fully with the investigation, providing access to her phone and messages. Yet the internet continued its own trial. Day after day, new theories surfaced, fueled by anger and tragedy. Eventually, she vanished. Some reports say she entered witness protection. Others believe she changed her name, relocated, and started working under a new identity. The truth remains deliberately hidden because safety demanded it. But disappearing comes with a heavy emotional price. She didn't just leave behind her old home. She left behind herself. No more social media. No friends who could slip her name by accident. No normal life where she could simply walk into a coffee shop without fear. If she starts a new job, she must hide her history. If she builds a friendship, she must guard her trust. If someone learns her secret, everything could collapse overnight. Imagine waking up every morning and wondering, will someone recognize me today? What happens when they do? Nichol Kessinger's life is now a labyrinth of caution. A survival plan built from silence and shadows. She can run from the world, but she can't run from the truth the world remembers. Backhand index pointing right if you're intrigued by these in-depth true crime breakdowns. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories just like this one. For most people, love is a hope, a natural part of life. But for Nichol Kessinger, love has become a liability. Any relationship she might pursue exists under the shadow of a past she cannot erase. To date her, a man must accept that she is one headline away from global resurfacing. A harmless photo on social media could reveal her new identity. A curious coworker could dig too deep and expose her past. A jealous acquaintance could turn her life into chaos overnight. Dating her means inheriting her infamy. The internet never forgets, and it rarely forgives. Even her silence becomes evidence to those who demand someone to blame. If she tries to move on, some call it disrespectful. If she disappears, others call it suspicious. Her existence is a paradox. She must stay hidden, but being hidden makes her seem guilty to the people who already distrust her. Imagine sitting across from someone at dinner, your heart racing. Not from romance, but from fear that someone might recognize you, that they might record your conversation, that the wrong person might see you together. Even if a man chooses to love her, he must accept. Heavy checkmark the weight of constant public judgment. Heavy checkmark the risk of harassment, threats, and online stalking. Heavy checkmark the possibility that his own reputation could be destroyed. Love for her is not simple. It is a dangerous commitment for both people involved. Because in the world's eyes, she is not Nichol anymore. She is a symbol of a tragedy that will always haunt the United States. A name permanently chained to a man who committed the unthinkable. Whether she deserves that fate or not, her future relationships will always be haunted by her past. For many people, endings bring closure. A sentence, a verdict, a name put behind bars. Yet for the story of Chris Watts and Nichol Kessinger, the ending never came. Months after the murders of Shanann Watts and her daughters, public records and interviews reveal new threads, unsettling questions, and deeper consequences. Some may still be speculative. Kessinger cooperated with investigators, providing phone records and describing her affair with Watts. He told her he was separated. She believed him. He lied about everything, she said. Yet although no official charges were ever brought against her in connection with the murders, the public verdict had already been cast, and it came from a court of strangers. Hate, suspicion, condemnation. Now, she lives under a new kind of sentence, one of infamy. Articles say she vanished from view. She was reportedly spotted after years of silence. Online detectives hunted for a glimpse of her in a live-streamed funeral. And for any man who might consider her, the question looms, would you ever marry someone whose name is forever tied to a tragic mass murder case? Not just the mistress of a killer, but the person who might always carry the stigma. Her dating profile, her future children, her life's normal moments, all overshadowed. Because while the law may declare innocence for lack of evidence, society rarely forgets. Nichol Kessinger's future relationships aren't just about romance. They're about legacy, redemption, trust, and the impossible task of proving she was more than a footnote in a horror story. In the next chapter, we'll explore how society treats women like her when reputations become prisons. Backhand index pointing right. Don't forget to like this video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Dark Matters True Crime for more stories that challenge everything you think you know about motives, victims, and survival. Years after the headlines faded, some people began whispering that maybe Nichol Kessinger could rebuild. Maybe she could escape the notoriety. Maybe a new life awaited. But for someone in the shadows of such a public crime, rebuilding is never simple. Observers say she's kept a quiet circle, no celebrity lifestyle, no media appearances, no social media comebacks. She reportedly works a regular job, lives under a new name, and avoids attention. Building a normal life was no longer enough. She had to build an invisible one. Yet the world keeps watching. Search engines autofill her name with the words, mistress, crime, knew about murders. Friends who try to step into her life face questions. Dating someone with that past means living in a goldfish bowl of suspicion. And so, some say she retreated. Not because she accepted guilt, because a social death is still a death. What about redemption? Can someone ever escape the label that millions placed on her? For many men who might consider her, the question is haunting. Is the stigma worth it? Could compassion overcome conviction from strangers? Would you be willing to say yes when the world is already shouting no? Because the answer doesn't just affect one woman. It affects two families, a broken neighborhood, and the public belief in how evil hides behind love. In the final chapter, we'll examine the aftermath for her, for him, and for everyone who believed a facade. There are cases that end with a clean conclusion. Guilty, sentenced, forgotten. But the Chris Watts case never allowed such closure. It left a crater of unanswered questions, and a woman wandering the edges of public judgment. Nichol Kessinger never expected to become a symbol, a reminder of how fast love can transform into horror. She wasn't on trial in a courtroom, yet she was convicted by millions of strangers. No matter how far she moves, no matter what new life she builds, she cannot escape the digital fingerprints of her past. Even now, people debate who she was, a naive believer in a man's lies, a woman caught in a nightmare she never saw coming, or something darker. The truth may never be fully understood. What is certain is that the stigma remains. Will any man step into her world knowing it comes with whispers, judgment, and danger? Could anyone truly love a woman whose name sparks outrage before she even speaks? Some people believe the world should let her move on. Others insist the shadow of this tragedy should follow her forever. In the end, love may not be the question. Forgiveness might be, because how do we decide who deserves a second chance? Who decides when a life of punishment is enough? And when someone is forever defined by the worst chapter of someone else's story? This case reminds us that evil creates victims far beyond the crime scene. Some you expect, and others you never will. Thank you for watching Dark Matters True Crime. If stories like this make you think, like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next investigation into the darkest corners of human behavior.
It was on August 13th, 2018, in Frederick, Colorado, when Shanann, her daughters Bella Marie, Celeste Catherine, and unborn child Nico Lee were murdered. Shanann and her children were tragically murdered by her husband, the children's father, Chris Watts.